We have just determined that, very likely, the cesium-137 canister is missing from the XYZ warehouse. The next question is, what happened with the cesium-137 canister? Here is the additional information obtained. Let's read this additional information carefully because we will use it to teach you additional evidence-based reasoning concepts and strategies. The professional locksmith Clyde was consulted and he said that the lock had been forced, but it was a clumsy job. The security camera of the XYZ warehouse contains a video segment showing a person loading a canister into a U-Haul panel truck. There is a security perimeter around the XYZ warehouse and the employee parking area, having just one gate that is controlled by a guard. On the day before the missing canister was observed, the security guard, Sam, recorded that a panel truck having Maryland license plate MDC 578 was granted entry at 4:45 p.m. just before the XYZ closing hour at 5 p.m. The driver of this vehicle showed the guard a manifest containing items being delivered to the XYZ warehouse. This manifest contained a list of packing material allegedly ordered by the company. The vehicle was allowed to enter the parking area. Grace, the vice president for operations at XYZ, tells us that while they have several projects involving hazardous materials, none uses cesium-137. We start with the intelligence question, what happened with the cesium-137 canister? Based on the problem description, we need to imagine the possible answers to this question. In this case, we see three possible answers. The cesium canister was stolen. The cesium canister is used in a project of the XYZ company without being checked out from the warehouse. The cesium canister was misplaced. These are the competing hypotheses. We need to assess the probability of each hypothesis by developing an argumentation for each, showing how the evidence favors or disfavors the corresponding hypothesis. Let's start with the hypothesis the cesium-137 canister was stolen. Let's now consider the available information and determine whether it suggests how the canister might have been stolen. We have determined that the canister is missing and that the locker was forced. There is a video segment showing a person loading a container into a panel truck. There is also a guard report indicating that a panel truck was in the parking area one day before discovering that the canister was missing. This suggests the following scenario. A truck entered the company, the canister was stolen from the locker, the stolen canister was loaded into the truck, and the truck left with the canister. The relevance of this scenario is certain. This is what we call an informal argument. We now need to expand it into a formal argument. A necessary and sufficient condition for this scenario to have happened is that each component action has happened. This leads to the following argument with relevance certain. Let us now consider each component action. A truck enters the company. We have the following favoring evidence for this. The record made by Sam, security guard at the company, that a panel truck bearing Maryland license was in the parking area on the day before Wheeler's discovery that the canister is missing. The relevance of this evidence item is certain because it asserts the event that a truck enters the company. Let us now consider the hypothesized action, the canister was stolen from the locker. We have shown that the cesium canister is missing from the warehouse. We have evidence that the warehouse locker was forced. This suggests the following conjunctive argument, whose relevance we assess as being almost certain. One item of evidence favoring the hypothesis that the warehouse locker was forced is Ralph's statement that the lock appears to have been forced. We assess its relevance as likely because Ralph himself is not so sure, using the term appears. The second item of evidence favoring this hypothesis is Clyde's conclusion that the locker has been forced. Its relevance is certain because the evidence asserts the event, that the locker was forced. Let us now consider the hypothesized action: the stolen canister was loaded into the truck. We have the following favoring evidence for this: a video segment on the security camera of the XYZ warehouse showing a person loading a container into a U-Haul panel truck. We assess its relevance as likely because a loaded canister may not be the missing canister. Finally, for the action the truck left with a canister, we have no evidence. We have now developed a formal argumentation, but it is not complete. We still need to assess the credibility of each evidence item, as well as the probability that the truck left with a canister. We will do this in the following, introducing also different types of evidence.